Hello everyone. My name is Gautam Lakhani and today I am conducting an modern history live session. Okay, and the topic we are covering is the revolt of 1857. Fine. Uh, could you please tell me that the voice and everything is audible now to you? Okay, fine. So today we are discussing about the revolt of 1857. As you many of know that the revolt of 1857 is basically considered as the first war of independence. Okay, but as you know, before starting it, let us discuss about that. What's the difference between that revolt and all that stuff? Okay, because as you know that there are many historians and scholars who says that the revolt of 1857 is just mere sepoy mutiny. Some Indian scholars says that it's basically a revolt for the freedom of independence. But as you all know that before starting it, let we make the clearance कि भाई what's the difference between revolt, mutiny and the war. Okay, so the war, what is basically a war? When the armies fought, ठीक है, जब दो आर्मीज लड़ रही हैं आपस में ए और बी, दैट इज कॉल्ड रिवोल्ट. उसको रिवोल्ट बोलते हैं हम कि भाई दो लोग जो हैं लड़ रहे हैं और ऊपर में लोगों का आपस में उनका कंटेंट भी है कि भाई वो भी उसके एनिमी है और वो भी उसका एनिमी है और आपस में एक दूसरे से लड़ रहे हैं वो लोग. दैट इज कॉल्ड बेसिकली अ रिवोल्ट, वो सॉरी वॉर. when both the sides are in a war, ठीक है, they both are doing a war and all that stuff, ठीक है. एंड जैसे हमने इंडिया ने भी करे हैं, इंडो चाइना वार हो गया, इंडिया पाक वार हो गया, वो सब ठीक है. एंड नाउ व्हाट्स द डिफरेंस बिटवीन अ रिवोल्ट. ओके, व्हाट्स अ रिवोल्ट? अब रिवोल्ट क्या चीज है आप देखिए. जब किसी एक तरफ जो है लोगों के अंदर डिसकंटेंट होता है, ठीक है, बिकॉज ऑफ द प्रैक्टिसेस ऑफ द अनजस्टिफाइड प्रैक्टिसेस ऑफ द फर्स्ट पार्टी, ठीक है. जब लोग जो है आपस में उनके अंदर डिसकंटेंट हुआ तो बिकॉज ऑफ दैट दे स्टार्ट डूइंग अ रिवोल्ट. ओके, अनजस्ट प्रैक्टिसेस की तरफ जो है उसको बोलते हैं कि रिवोल्ट. रिवोल्ट होना, विद्रोह के लिए आवाज उठाना, बेसिकली इट्स जस्ट दैट इट्स बेसिकली अगेंस्ट द विद्रोह के लिए आवाज उठाना कि दैट द प्रैक्टिसेस विच आर बीइंग फॉलोड और विच आर बीइंग डन बाय द basically the ruling party is basically known as the revolt, ठीक है. And now let's discuss about what's the mutiny is, ठीक है. When there is a discontent between the army, okay, when there is a discontent between the sepoys because of the unjust practices, that's called a mutiny. कि when a few stuff of the military mans and all those personals, army personals do the रिवोल्ट अगेंस्ट दैट, इट इज कॉल्ड अ म्यूटिनी, ठीक है. कि वो किस लिए रिवोल्ट म्यूटिनी किस लिए हुआ, लेट्स मी जस्ट मेक इट क्लियर. कि भाई वॉर तो हो गया कि जब दोनों तरफ से लड़ाई हो रही है. रिवोल्ट हो गया जब बहुत सारे जो लोग हैं जो रूलिंग पार्टी की अनजस्ट प्रैक्टिसेस के लिए आवाज उठा रहे हैं, दैट इज कॉल्ड अ रिवोल्ट, ठीक है. एंड व्हाट इज म्यूटिनी? म्यूटिनी इज समथिंग दैट जो आर्मी के कंटेस्ट में होती है कि भाई सिपॉइज वर हैविंग डिस्कंटेंट अमंग देम बिकॉज ऑफ द अनफेयर प्रैक्टिसेस, that is called a mutiny. Okay, fine. So let us discuss about it. That what's the revolt of 1857 is. As we all know that revolt of 1857 is basically considered as the first war of independence. We can say that, okay, and it's a remarkable point in the history of India. Okay. So let me make it clear before starting about it that we will take 5 minutes. We will take after this session we will take 5 minutes for taking your doubts and all that stuff. Okay, so don't ask anything in between the session and all that. Okay, no, I'm not turning off the comments because from that only I can get the review and I can get to know that what are you asking. Okay, so now let us start. So what the revolt of 1857 is? The revolt of 1857 had just done because of the few things which are the reasons they are behind. अगर आप कोई चीज हो रही है तो उसके पीछे कुछ reasons भी होते हैं, ठीक है. As we all know that before the revolt of 1857 there are few mere revolts also around. There are, it is mentioned in the book that around 100 of the revolts have been done, okay, against the unfair practices of the Britishers. As we all know that Britishers has basically captured the India around they had started they as we all know that in 1757 after the battle of Plassey, the Britishers gained the political things, okay, and now they are interfering in the political and as well as in the administration of the India, basically in the parts of Bengal and Bihar. So between the from the 1757 to 1857, because of some practices of the unjustified practices of the Britishers, and there were some discontent among the peoples. Okay, whether it's in the economic, whether it's in a political class, in the middle class, everyone having a discontent among the having the discontent among them because of this. And so the thing is that now let us discuss that what are the reasons behind it that it took into a revolt. Okay, so let us classify it into four things. That there are some economic reasons. Second, there are some political reasons. Third, there are some religious reasons. And fourth is the main reason is the army, that the discontent in the army. Okay, so the economic reasons. What are the economic reasons behind that? So basically the economy is comprised of the peasants, artisans, merchants, and the middle class. Okay, the peasants are having the discontent among them because of the unfair land revenue system of the Britishers. The thing is that land is being transferred to the new zamindars, and the new zamindars are oppressing them because of the main thing is that the high revenue charges of them. They are taxing a lot over the things, and there are 10 famines around between the decade. There are 10 famines in the Bengal. Okay, but the thing is that because of the famines, the revenue generated by the peasants is not much, and the taxes burden over them is a lot. So because of the unfair practices, the peasants were basically trapped in a debt trap, which you call that a vicious circle of a debt. कि भाई उनको अब जमींदार से उन्होंने पैसा तो ले लिया है, but they have nothing to do, they have nothing to pay off because they are not earning that much of the amount. So because of that, their lands were taken by the zamindars, and many of them were landless now. Okay. After that, there were the discontent among the artisan classes. What are the artisans? As we all know that the Britishers had basically hit the economy of our handicraft economy. हैंडीक्राफ्ट इकोनॉमी को उन्होंने जबरदस्त हिट किया बिकॉज उन्होंने अब इतना ज्यादा कुछ हो गया था कि आर्टिसंस जो हैं आई एम sorry the thing is that please don't ask questions in between. I'll take a 5 minute after the session, and I'll give all the questions to your I will give all the answers to your questions. Please hold on. Okay, so now so there is a discontent among the artisans also because they are basically unemployed and they are not doing anything. So they are peasants are in a debt trap. Artisans are also in land laborless. Okay, and the thing is merchants. Now the merchant class is also having a, because the artisans are on the roads and the economy is in the bad condition, so they are also not having a good things to do. So they are also not in a good stage to do anything. Okay, so the artisans. So these are the economic reasons that the economy of the India at that time in the 1857 is very in a bad condition because of the famines and because of the land revenue system and many of the things. It is very bad. Okay. Now, after the economic reasons, because of the economy, there is a discontent among the ordinary people and all that. After that, there comes a political reason. The political reasons are the main reasons behind this revolt of 1857. So the political reasons comprises when the administration, basically the administration interference by the Britishers. ठीक है, administration में आपको पता होगा कि जैसे Lord Dalhousie has started the doctrine of lapse policy, in which the Indians were not allowed to have their succession, their own successions. कि भाई अगर if you having an adopted son or something like that, you cannot succeed your throne. Basically, that was the thing. And before that, the Lord Warren Hastings subsidiary alliance all over the things which the British states, which are princely states, which are in that. So they are also having a discontent among because of the सब्सिडर लाइंस. बिकॉज सब्सिडर लाइन से होता क्या था कि दैट वो जनरली जो है अपने एक रेजिडेंट छोड़ते थे वहां पर, और रेजिडेंट छोड़ने के बाद हुआ क्या कि दैट रेजिडेंट इज हैविंग द पॉलिटिकल एज वेल एज एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव इंटरफेरेंस इन देयर एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन. ओके, आफ्टर द डॉक्ट्रिन ऑफ लैप्स, तो डॉक्ट्रिन ऑफ लैप्स से होता क्या है कि दैट बिकॉज ऑफ द डॉक्ट्रिन ऑफ लैप्स, Nana Sahib was not allowed to give the pension. Nana Sahib is not allowed to give the pension which was used to give to his father, Peshwa Bajirao II. So Nana Sahib revolted against because he was not getting any pension, and he was also shift to Kanpur from his seat, जो उनकी paternal seat थी पूना की, वहां से उनको हटा करके यहाँ कर दिया. Just because of that, क्यों? क्योंकि that they can't have any political interference in the Pune and that side region. Okay, after that, the Jhansi ki Rani, as we all know that Rani Lakshmi Bai fought for the state because the British were not allowing her to having her son, जो adopted son था उनको succeed नहीं करने दे रहे थे, that he will also not do. Okay, and after that the doctrine of lapse. So the thing is that there was very much disturbance in the political lobby also. They were all having the discontent because of the Britishers, that what they are doing. So after that doctrine of lapse and all that, when the Britishers annexed Awadh, who was the very friendly for the Britishers and had always helped them in everything. So after annexing the Awadh, because of the malpractices, the issue they had taken up is that there are malpractices. जो administration है, that is not in a good hand. So because of that, अवध की वजह से जो है वो और ज्यादा हो गया, लोगों के अंदर आ गया कि that the thing is not good, कि political lobby के अंदर आया कि that if they can annex Awadh, who is a very good friend of them, so why they can't us? Why can't we? We can also. It means that there is no loyalty for the Britishers. Britishers are not loyal. They had agreed. They had agreed to capture the territory as much as they can. Okay, that's the thing. So after that, there is among the political lobby, there is so much of disturbance and discontent for the Britishers that they are not doing good and all that. So so we had discussed about economic as well as political reasons that why is happening the revolt 1857 took. Basically, right now I am just telling you about the plot, that what was the thing which was happening in the India before revolt of 1857. So after that, there comes the religious activities. As we all know that Christian missionaries are all over active in the India at that time, and they were all doing that conversion activities. Britishers has also obtained that chaplains in the army. Because of that only, there were discontent among the people because the religious practices, they are seeing that there is उनके सामने लोग घूम रहे थे कि that who were the जो उन्होंने अपना रिलीजन चेंज कर लिया था, they had adopted Christianity and left the Muslim Islam or Hinduism. So and after that what happened is कि that Britishers had give him that कि जो लोग अपना religion change करेंगे, who would adopt the conversion, they would also get the property rights. जो उनकी ancestral property है, they will get the rights in that also. So this among the people, these things also disturb the people and having the discontent that this also will be happen, and उसना करने के बाद भी they will also get their higher in their properties and all that property rights भी उनको मिलेगा. So this was the conversion activities which were done by the Christian missionaries in the India. That was also having a discontent among the people. And after that, the abolition of Sati in 1829. Abolition of Sati in 1829 led us that how the foreign Britishers are basically the foreigners for the India. So how the foreigners are interfering in our social customs. Okay, sorry. So in 1829, that when the people see that the sati has been the pratha has been abolished, though it was not a good practice, but अब क्या करते कि उस time पे the Britishers had supported and they had abolished the sati in 1829. This also generated a discontent among the common classes, as they were saying that foreigners, they are foreigners, and secondly they are secondly they are disturbing our and interfering in our practices, जो हमारी customs हैं हमारी, क्योंकि सती प्रथा काफी टाइम से थी इंडिया के अंदर. Okay, after that the widow remarriage, when the widow remarriage is legalized in 1856, then also the people having that कि भाई अब तो widow remarriage भी हो गई है legalized. So these all the things were having discontent among the people, that how it can be done, how they can change our customs, how they can change our practices which were falling from a long time. So these are the things. And the human sacrifices were banned for the tribals. Tribals were not allowed to do the human sacrifices because these things are illegalized in India. ये सब अब illegalized है. You cannot do anything like killing for the sake of religion or killing someone for the sake of something else. So you will not do that. So these are the things with that conversion activities, sati abolition, widow remarriage, and the human sacrifice ban for the tribals. All these things have basically made a discontent among the people, the common people, that how the foreigners care, how the foreigners can interfere in our religious practices and the customs which we are having from a so long time, and we are practicing it for a long. Because as we all know that the sati and all these widow remarriages and conversion activities, before that it was not seen in the economy and in the people. So after all these religious activities, which religious interference, economic conditions, and the political interference, all these led to the revolt of 1857. And now when it's come to army, so there was very much discontent among the army. Before 1857, there were very few examples that we can see कि that पहले भी revolt हुआ 1857 से, but not in that much कि इतना उसको नहीं हो पाया, उसको इतना बढ़ावा नहीं पाया. It have not gained any kind of a spark जो 1857 से उसको मिला. ठीक है. In as we all know that there were the sepoys in the Bengals which has raised against the Britishers in the 1764 because of the army practices they were doing. There's a discontent among the army. Okay, and after that there was a Vellore mutiny in 1806 because the sepoys revolted against the interference in their religious activities. There were conversion activities and sepoys were not allowed to do any of their religious customs and practices. They are not allowed to do that. They are not allowed to follow that. So in 1806, the Vellore mutiny had happened. Okay, and after that in 1824, when the sepoys in the Barakpur refused the government to go to the Burma by a sea route. So then also they revolted against it, the Britishers, because at that time it was considered that if you cross the sea route, if you cross your country by the sea route, then it's in India it's taken as the abolition of your caste, that you will be socially boycotted from your caste, that you have now crossed the country by the sea route. So it was that also. And in 1844 the sepoys have also mutinied against the salaries, that they are not getting the equal salaries against their British counterpart. The Britishers, the British sepoys, they were getting a huge salaries. They were getting a good amount of the salaries, whereas the Indian sepoys were not getting something good. तो जो उनका पे था वो बहुत कम था, and the Britishers were having a great pays in the army. Sorry. So after that, there was basically a racial discrimination amongst the army. There was a racial discrimination between the Indians and the Britishers. So there were no promotions. The जो था कि आप higher posts were basically holded by the Britishers only. The Indians can, after the service of 15 to 20, 25 years, they can only promoted to the post of Subedar. जो Subedar की post, it was the salary of the Subedar was 60 to 70 rupees at that time. So there were basically a racial discrimination among the army also. कि जो Indians and they were not getting the good food, they were not getting the good monuments, they were not getting the good residence कि भाई उनको अच्छी जगह से ठहराया जाए. They were basically treated like a pigs and the sewers. The Britishers basically called them sewers and the pigs. Okay, so this thing was not acceptable and generating a discontent among the army. After that, the foreign alliances are also stopped. If someone from Awadh is being posted in the Punjab under the Subsidy Alliance, as we all know that there were military deployments. So if someone is working in the Punjab and doing something for the government, working in the army, so he was not allowed to, after 1849, he was not allowed to give the foreign allowances. That Awadh ka banda agar Punjab में काम कर रहा है तो उसको foreign allowance अब नहीं मिलेगा, because now the Punjab is also the part of the British territory. So this also generated discontent among the people. पहले क्या होता था कि that sepoys were ready to work in the foreign land, foreign territory में वो काम करने के लिए ready होते थे because of these foreign allowances and all that. But after 1849, when these allowances were abolished by the Britishers, so this generated a discontent among the people. So in 1857, when the General Enlistment Act was passed, whosoever जो भी आर्मी में साइन करेगा, it was being mandatory, उसको mandatory कर दिया कि he would have to serve anywhere. If the Britishers were asked him to do a job in the Burma or something like that, तो उसको जाना पड़ेगा. But at that time, as we all know that crossing the country by the sea route and all that, it's basically considered as losing a caste, and it's a social boycotted, जो हुआ social boycott हो जाएगा. अब होता क्या है कि as we all know that the Britishers had made a post for the chaplain in the army. Who was chaplain? Chaplain is basically a person जो कि रिलीजियस प्रीचिंग करता था, रिलीजियस टीचिंग करता था वहां पे, और क्रिश्चियनिटी के लिए बारे में करता था. सो ही वाज अडॉप्टिंग, जो वहां पे था वो कन्वर्जन एक्टिविटीज को बढ़ावा दे रहे थे. चैपलिन्स और बेसिकली promoting the conversion activities in the army, and because of that conversion activities, there was a discontent among the people were not satisfied, the army personals were not satisfied that they were when they see that conversion activities were happening, and so this also made the discontent among the people of the armies. Promotions जो थे, avenues for the promotions were very poor. उनको वहां पे प्रमोशंस नहीं मिलते थे टाइम टू टाइम. थोड़ा सा होता क्या था कि जो एक ब्रिटिश पर्सोनल है उसको जल्दी वो लोग प्रमोट करते थे, और जो इंडियन था उसको नहीं प्रमोट करते थे. एज आई टोल्ड यू अर्लियर ऑल्सो कि दैट जो इंडियन था दे कैन ओनली प्रमोटेड टू द प्लेस ऑफ सूबेदार, और सूबेदार की जो सैलरी थी वो सिर्फ 60 से 70 रुपए थी उस टाइम पे. ठीक है. सो दीज ऑल द थिंग्स वर मेकिंग अ डिस्कंटेंट अमंग द आर्मी ऑल्सो. जो मेजर रीजन था वो था बेसिकली आर्मी के अंदर डिस्कंटेंट का अवध अनेक्सेशन, क्योंकि उस टाइम पे अराउंड 75,000 ऑफ द सोल्जर्स वर कमिंग फ्रॉम अवध. जो अवध को जब उनको ब्रिटिशर्स हैव कैप्चर्ड द अवध, एंड देयर वर द ब्रिटिश मेल प्रैक्टिसेस और लैंड रेवेन्यू सिस्टम, तो बेसिकली ऑल दोस थिंग्स वर अफेक्टिंग द पर्स ऑफ द वॉलेट्स ऑफ द सिपॉयज. तो वो सिपॉयज की कहीं ना कहीं इफेक्ट कर रही थी, क्योंकि अब क्या है कि अवध के अंदर सिपॉयज भी हैं. दे आर व्हाट अ सिपॉय वाज दैट टाइम. सिपॉय वाज बेसिकली अ पीजेंट इन अ यूनिफॉर्म. व्हाट वी कैन कॉल अ सिपॉय इज बेसिकली अ पीजेंट इन अ यूनिफॉर्म. सो होता क्या था कि दैट ही वाज हैविंग अ लैंड इन द अवध और इन हिज होमलैंड, and the land revenues were very high and the incomes was very low. So all these affecting the British wallets of the sepoys only. So all these activities were also having a discontent among the army personnel were not satisfied because of all this stuff, so they were also having a discontent. So after we have discussed all the reasons, economic reasons, ठीक है, कि that peasants were not happy, peasants were oppressed, and artisans, merchants, all these things we had discussed. And now the political, the doctrine of lapse, subsidiary alliance, and political interference by the Britishers in the princely states. So all these were the basically political reasons. And after that, religious activities, the conversion activities, changing our social customs like abolition of sati and all that, and the army discontent. So all these four are the major reasons behind the revolt of 1857. So what we can say is that the plot is basically ready. प्लॉट जो था वो रेडी हो चुका था कि दैट देयर विल बी अ रिवोल्ट और देयर विल बी अ डिस्कंटेंट अमंग द पीपल, एज वी ऑल नो. So what else is needed for a revolt now? Basically it was needed is a spark. A spark was needed. एक स्पार्क चाहिए था कि दैट एक रिवोल्ट के लिए स्पार्क चाहिए था उस टाइम पे. So what happened is when that spark gave is when the introduction of the Enfield rifles. What Enfield rifles are used by the army personnel, and what they needed is that the cartridges were made of the greased, जो उनका टॉप था, the sepoys have to tear off that top of the cartridge and have to load in the rifle. So there was a rumor that the greased cartridge, the cartridge having the grease is of the pig and as well as cow fat, that is basically pork fat and the cow fat sorry, beef fat. So what basically beef is socially boycotted in the Indians, though जो था कि वो था कि it means that Britishers are trying to playing with our religious sentiments. Britishers are trying to affect our religious sentiments by using these cartridges and introduction of these cartridges. So this gave a spark to the revolt, spark for the revolt. In 29th March 1857, Mangal Pandey in Barakpur revolted against it single-handedly. He said that we will not use these greased cartridges because the top of the cartridges were made of beef and pig fat, pork fat. So we will not use them. After that, on 24th April, the 3rd Native Cavalry of Meerut revolted against it, that we will not use this, and then there are 90 army personnel who revolted against this. And on 9th May 85 of them have dismissed. 85 of them after some court case, some military case, they were 85 of them from the 90 soldiers were dismissed. So this made a discontent among the people. So they took their voices against the Britishers, and जितने भी उनके लोग थे वहां पे 85 who were captured, they had made them free and revolted against the Britishers, and they marched to the Delhi on 10th May. They marched to the Delhi from Meerut. So after reaching the Delhi, they basically went to Bahadur Shah Zafar, the last Mughal emperor, Bahadur Shah Zafar, as we all know. So we can see that the glory of the Mughal rule was ended after the death of the Aurangzeb only. So between these, it's over a century. एक century हो चुका था after that. So we can see that there was some belief among the people that the Mughals are good than these Britishers. So they went to the Bahadur Shah Zafar. So they went to the Bahadur Shah Zafar and asked him to help them. So after that, when the Bahadur Shah Zafar helped them, Bahadur Shah Zafar, they asked the Bahadur Shah Zafar that we are revolting against the British rules, and as we all know that the people are ready for the revolt because the conditions were not good and not favorable for the Britishers. So after that, they marched to the Bahadur Shah Zafar, and Bahadur Shah Zafar get ready. Bahadur Shah Zafar ready हो गए, वो तैयार हो गए to become leader. So Bahadur Shah Zafar had sent all the messages to the all the princely state that we are revolting against the Britishers. Sorry. After that, what happened is that the जितने भी थे Bahadur Shah Zafar started doing all that. Bahadur Shah Zafar revolted against them,